Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to In the Bag. How you doing today, ABB?
Hey, it's the bag, and I'm just living in it. You know what I'm saying? Oh no, good. We're hanging out. It's been I don't know. It's interesting, like this time before USDGC and Tour Championship for us. There's a lot. I mean, we got the warehouse full of guys here working this morning, getting discs up, getting subscription boxes built. And hey, at the top of the episode, just want to pitch the subscription box because if you're a fan of Robbie, you're a fan of Connor, you're a fan of Disco, it might be the box for you. It might be the one you waited for.
If you're a fan of those three things, this is the box for you. I'm not even gonna say it might be. It is.
Yeah, and if you like spiders, even better. I mean, hey, let's just tease it, Robbie. Here we go. I'm just gonna show it. Who cares? Here we go. If you're a YouTube watcher, check this boy out.
Groovy
Robbie. And you might say, why Groovy Robbie? So this is a Birdie Blend Wizard, which you know Robbie's a fan of.
Oh yeah.
And if you look, there are these like concentric like circles, like they're grooves, aka groovy, around the edge. This is like a technique called they're like hedric circles, I think is the way to say it. Some very cool physics thing Dave at Gateway explained to me for like 20 or 30 minutes. And
classic.
But yeah, at the end of the day, the grip is really good. I typically would say I would dislike something like this, but I really like it. Like I feel like it just like gives you a little extra grip, a little extra confidence on a putt. If I was a beaded putter, I might consider switching to those. I really like how they feel, and like the Birdie Blend in it feels great too.
I'm really excited for it. I think about fastbacks and how they have those sort of lines on the top, and it helps for a little bit of extra grip. Yeah. So I think for lots of people who have been on the fence about throwing Birdie Blend putters, this is going to be one that quickly finds its way as its thrower in your bag, which would be really good.
Yeah. So make sure you pick those up. If you're a 2-disc box subscriber this month, you're going to get 3 discs. And if you're a 3-disc box subscriber, you're going to get 4 discs and a swag item. So good month, high value month.
And there's still so much time for you guys to sign up and to join the box. So
yeah, and if you sign up, just a heads up, your orders will be processed on the 15th of every month, and then we ship them like on that day or just very soon after that. Depending on if it's the weekend or whatever. So that's our new kind of system. It helps everybody kind of get them at the same time too. So, and hey, it's the 12th when you're listening to this, so you can order it now and get it shipped out next week. What a great time.
What a great time. Buy it today, shipped out on Monday. Wow.
Yeah.
What a beautiful world we live in.
And if you have any questions, here's Robbie's cell phone number. It is 1. Yeah. No, just kidding.
No. Brad? You ready to dive into some questions? I think we got some good ones today. I'm excited. We even had one coming from an alternative source. So
that was a cool one.
It's going to be great. Cool. Starting with Joel or Joycel from the Hyzer Club.
Oh, shout out Hyzer Club.
Yeah.
Hey, secret project behind the scenes. We're doing some new designs for the Hyzer Club. Just little teaser. Go ahead.
Just for you, Joel. Mm-hmm. I've been really trying to improve my backhand form this year. I've been favoring the forehand the past few years because it comes out nose down, and I was able to break 300 feet with my forehand before my backhand. I've been trying to turn the key as throwing instead of before I throw, holding that pour the coffee position. Okay. Which all do you prefer, or am I not approaching this correctly at all?
Ooh.
So this is trying to get nose down, Brad. I'm sure you've tried both methods.
Yeah. I think for me, I'm trying to think. I think turn the key is probably better for me versus the coffee. Cause I don't know. I don't like what it does to my wrist feels weird in the pour the coffee position. Mm-hmm. So I think turn the key probably works better for me. That's probably why I've messed a lot with like where my thumb and where I hold on the disc too. Cause I'm trying to turn the key. That's definitely what I'm doing. It's helping. It's definitely helping. I'm not like there yet. So what do you think, Robbie, as a coach, which is it like just per player strictly, or is there like a method you prefer?
Yeah. So I actually had this exact conversation with someone. It's funny. I went to a card game tournament this weekend in Atlanta, and
I gotta ask you about that offline. I really want to hear about that. Continue.
Yeah, so I went. I just got to fanboy over meeting essentially the rundown. This card game tournament was super competitive, so there was a lot of big players there, including like. In order to qualify for the World Championships of Lorcana, you had to either win a 2,048 person tournament, or you had to come in top 16, which qualified you for a 128 person tournament, and then you had to come in top 8 of that to make it to Worlds.
Wow!
So, like, you can imagine 2,048 people to top 16 to then those top 16 making 128, and you had top 8 that.
Yeah, wow.
There were 9 Worlds competitors at this tournament that I played at.
Dang.
Out of 28.
Dang.
And understanding that half of the world's competitors were European. So, like, dude, it was crazy, the competition. Anyways, so I'm absolutely fangirling over all of the pros. I'm getting people to sign cards, like all that.
That's cool.
And I really appreciate, to some of you who may be listening, I really appreciate I got stopped multiple times for people to take selfies with me because of disc golf.
So cool.
And so it's funny when you're meeting a pro and you're fangirling over them. It was a weird experience because I'm literally fangirling over someone, and then another person stops me mid conversation. It was like, "Oh my gosh, are you Robbie?" I was
That's
like,
so cool.
Yeah. And they're like, "Bro, can we take a picture together?" So now this person that I'm like reacting to is looking at me like, "So who are you?"
Yeah, who is this guy?
But shout out, met a guy from Wisconsin, met this whole crew from Wisconsin, and one of them was a disc golfer, and he also is making Lorcana YouTube content. So we talked about YouTube for a little bit, and he was saying, "Hey, I'm new. I'm trying to figure out the whole nose down thing." And had this exact question. So I forgot that I had like saved this to the side before having this conversation. So the way that I explained it to him was, I think both of them have their merit. I think both of them are really good for different reasons. It all comes down to sort of how your throw exists. Mm-hmm. So for most people, I think turning the key is actually going to get you nose down faster, because if you're trying to like slam in to the throw and you're sort of dropping the shoulder into the throw, and that hand is getting like sort of raised above the elbow, because you are arming it, which isn't terrible, but you're like so arming it that hand pops up. And you guys can feel, if you're just sitting here listening, you can try to like break down the door with your shoulder as you're trying to throw hard, and you'll see that hand gets above your. So turning the key helps correct that, right? Because you're going to end up in a good position. However, if you're someone who has more of a flat or a low to high pull through, I think that setting the wrist properly before you go actually is probably easier. So if you have a good swing path, I think pouring the coffee is better and easier to accomplish, because you don't have to actively do something during the throw. You're just throwing and your wrist is in the right position. If you are someone who has, like I said, more of that slam type throw, which is what most people have, I think turning the key is often going to be helpful. But I try to, when I'm trying to teach nose up, I really do try to just focus on launch angle and getting people to have a positive launch angle, because if you can get a consistent positive launch angle, 9 times out of 10, it's going to help fix your nose angle instantaneously.
Yeah. I feel like, and to your point, I feel like once I've kind of had like the aha moment for launch angle, what it's really trying to accomplish, which I'm still embarrassed to say it took me that long, but it did. And I do feel like my nose angle is much better. I'm getting a lot less nose up. I feel like it's probably like a little nose up or like closer to like flat versus nose down, but it's definitely better. I can just tell how the disc flies. It's better.
Yeah. And if you throw in a shot nose up in the middle of a round where you needed it to turn or something like that, awesome. Just think about that launch angle, and 9 times out of 10, like that's where I shot the video that comes out on my channel today is a Procyon review. And in one of the shots, I was like,
great disc, by the way.
It's fun. It's really, really fun. I had some technical difficulties in shooting my Procyon review, but we powered through. And you guys get to enjoy the hilarity of that. But I was trying to demonstrate, and Hyzer angle, because I compare it to, in the video, I compare it to a Wraith. And I was like, okay, let's see what a fresh Wraith flies like, what a seasoned Wraith flies like, what a fresh Procyon flies like, what a seasoned Procyon flies like. And when I went to throw the Procyon holds Hyzer way better than a Wraith does, especially a fresh for both. But when I went to throw the Wraith, I just focused on throwing it on Hyzer. I didn't focus on launch angle, so I threw it nose up. And so for the next two, I threw them. I just focused on launch angle first while thinking about like on that launch angle, try to maintain it. And it's funny reversing that. And then I threw 3 phenomenal Hyzer shots. And so it's like, oh, okay, cool. So yeah, focus on that launch angle and it'll help you a lot.
I think there's, every time I throw like a big like sky like turnover, I always feel like I throw those shots really well. But I think now, like talking through all this, I think it's because like my launch angle is probably appropriate for that shot. It's like just a good launch angle, and that's why it tends to work like I need it to. So for whatever that's little piece of information is worth. So
sure.
Joel, aka Josel, hope that helped you.
Yeah. Ben from Chicago. Been playing for less than 2 months. As a beginner, I have 2 kinds of discs in my bag. Discs that teach me something. For example, my passion will hold the line it's thrown on. So if I throw a passion and it doesn't do what I want to, then I know it's my fault.
First of all, that disc is teaching you nothing. Continue.
Teaching you how bad it can feel in your hand, according to
what
Brad.
A terrible disc feels like. But
and then next up is discs that complement my beginner habits, but don't lead to any long-term improvement. The zone will always fade back no matter how bad I late release. Should I be looking for discs that make my beginner habits more consistent? Or should I be looking for discs that bail me out instead of force me to improve my game? Should I have a mix? Love some advice here. I'm going to stop choking and Brad, let you take it.
Oh, that's good, because I was going to ask, can I do, like, I don't know if this is a hot take on this or maybe it's just a take. Robbie's hot take is breathing right now. So I don't know. And I will say I would probably have felt different about this maybe even 6 months ago. I feel like you need to have all those bad habits to understand what good habits are. I don't, and maybe this is wrong, like wrong thinking, but I don't know if you should just try to go in and just have no bad habits and like, oh, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to avoid this mistake. Because Ben, I'm guessing you're a person like me who will like research something to death and know everything about it and then jump all into it, which it sounds kind of like what you do, which I think is a wonderful trait as a human and sometimes very taxing. But I don't know. I kind of just feel like you should build a bag of discs that you want to throw. I think you should try, maybe if we're like doing like a middle ground of this, maybe find like 10 to 12 discs that you really like throwing that kind of give you the shots that you need. And, you know, maybe you're choosing a zone because it does complement your beginner habits now, but maybe eventually like, oh, I could use a zone and now I can use like a bobcat or a drop or, you know, a baseline zone because that one's straighter. I think you just kind of evolve as you start playing, and you really, like, for me anyway, I didn't really feel like I felt the qualms of like not having a good form or not being able to throw this far or not being able to throw this type of disc until I really like needed it and had the experience. And then I was like, oh, that's why this is important. And I feel like it gave me a different understanding versus like, oh, I should do this. It really showed me why I should do that or why I should have that or why I shouldn't do this, or, you know, both mental game, like disc selection, how many discs to carry, what type of disc, what plastic I like, what, you know, we joked about the passion, but like what feels good, what doesn't feel good. And like, I just feel like if you're playing 2 bags right now, one's just going to be a crutch and then the other is going to be frustrating. And why not just like put all that into one bag together and just like learn with it all and just accept that you're going to have a lot of development over like a long period of time. Like disc golf is not one of those things you're going to be good at in like 6 months, or maybe you'll be as good as you want to be in 6 months. So I think that's kind of where I am. I think you just kind of need to have the mistakes. I think you should mix all the discs you want to throw together and then learn as you go.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanna push back on one of the categories here, especially the disc that you use as the example, Ben. So you said like don't lead to any long term improvement, such as the zone will always hold that fade back no matter how bad a late release. Brad, if you were to meet a touring pro who plays with Discraft, do you think they have a zone in their bag?
Yep.
Yeah, I would argue that most of them have more than one.
Yeah.
So I think that disc will stick with you long term. Now, when people say, does it lead to long term improvement? Yes, I actually still think it leads to long term improvement. While it does auto correct, what you'll find from the touring pros is that the touring pros, they actually, I would argue, they lean into that category of discs more than they need to, because they're so reliable. Like I'll never forget the first time that I watched a pro step up on a 300-foot hole that I knew had about the same forehand as me, probably better, but I stand by that I have a good forehand, unlike what I showed at the Dominion, at the Creator Challenge. Bad week. So I watched this person step up and it's a 300-foot forehand shot. I'm thinking in my head, I throw a felon on this all day long. Mm-hmm. And they step up and they pull out a cap wrap. Wow. And they throw this cap wrap. And I was like, first off, that is so far. Like, you're working hard to throw that.
Yeah.
And why not just throw a Raptor? And so I just asked them, because it was a practice round. And I was like, so why'd you go cap wrap there instead of Raptor? And they told me that it was because it just is more reliable. Like, it just fades. Mm-hmm. It's just always going to fade. Like, no matter what the wind does at the top of the arc, it is going to fade.
Yeah.
So those type of discs, Ben, will stick with you. You will enjoy them for the rest of time. I stand by. I didn't find overstable putt and approach discs for the first 7 years that I played disc golf. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, the game is way harder without them. Mm-hmm. Because, like I said, it does autocorrect, but it also, when you learn to use them correctly, it helps you improve, because once you know how to throw that line, it's just going to do it every time. Now I'm not sweating on a 200-foot approach because I hope that I hit the angle right. I can just know I throw Hyzer here, it's going to be in the right spot. So all that to say, love those categories of discs. So you definitely need to have some of them in your bag. Now, I agree also with Brad. How much should you lean into the beginner stuff? I think that you having your bad habits is how you kind of enjoy and appreciate the game. Mm-hmm. So I don't think there's anything wrong with having discs that showcase sort of what you need to learn on the shot. I, as a guy who's been playing since 2012, still have discs in my bag that help showcase, okay, this is a very neutral disc. What is it going to do? And I find myself on the days that I'm confident, I throw those way more than I do on the days that I'm like, well, I'll just lean into a little extra fade and throw everything on Hyzer.
Yeah.
So I think that is completely acceptable. It's completely reasonable. And what you're going to end up finding, I think, is that those discs that teach you stuff will slot into becoming some of your favorite discs overall, because you've learned your lessons. And there's going to be a day that you throw a shot and you're like, I wanted it to do blank, and it did something else. But then when you see that something else, it's wrong for that hole in that moment. Mm-hmm. But wait a month, wait a week, a day, a hole. Yeah. You're going to see a shot and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, that is the shot that I need. I already know that this disc does it, which is awesome. So I think that, lean into them, have a mix. And I would have one of those like neutral-ish teach me discs in every single category. I would have a putter, I would have a mid, I would have a fairway, and I would have a distance driver. If you're very new, you may not want the distance driver just yet, but like if the passion's the fast one, go find a Mako 3 or a Dune from Trash Panda. Mm-hmm. That was another thing at the card game tournament is I was talking, they said like, hey, what's a neutral mid that I should look into that works really well for a beginner. And I was like, oh, are you familiar with Trash Panda? And he was like, oh yeah, the content channel. And I was like, yeah. So if you watch their content, you'll know that they make discs. And true story, he said, I thought they only made overstable stuff like the Canyon.
Whoa. Well,
And I was like,
that
is something I never would have heard about Trash Panda.
There's a marketing principle that I always like try to think about when I'm doing anything in marketing, not even just like marketing to sell stuff, but marketing as a person, as a brand or whatever. But typically takes 7 touches for someone to convert to, an idea or a, product or whatever. But that's the proof, right? Like that person's not seen the inner core 7 times probably, or heard it mentioned or seen it in the background or whatever, Can I also highlight one other thing, not to jump over your point, about like you're saying like a hole later you'll see a shot and like it changes how you think about a disc or a hole. It's funny because Jason and I were just talking about that this morning. We're going to start doing the course conquest for Hyzer Club. So just Jason and I doing course conquest, our own version of that. And we're doing Peaks View, and we're just
same
talking
lines.
We're going to do slightly altered lines. Now Peaks View, we think we could do the same one, but we're going to go 8 down on alt shot. We'll see. I think we can still hit 10 personally, and Jason does too, but we'll see. It's when we get to those longer holes or longer courses that it's going to be a little more troubling. Anyway, The point of that is saying, we're talking about, we were talking about hole 17 at Peaks View, which is a hard birdie. And we were just talking about like, we're seeing holes differently now that we're getting a little more distance, a little bit more like experience and shot selection and stuff, because my whole life I played that hole. Like I got to throw a big, huge hyzer up around that tree. It's really just a straight shot. It's really just straight up the middle. And that's the play. And we were talking about how many shots and holes were like, really it's just a straight shot up the middle. But everybody, including like me, is like, we're afraid to throw like that straight shot. We don't have like the very straight, accurate shot. Versus like the wide hyzer or the flex forehand or whatever, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of like straight shots that are like really the best option for the birdie, but we just, still as players don't have the skill yet, because we were talking about, Peaks View, Timbrook, we feel pretty good on the lines that the guys did. We probably can hit them, but when we get to like those harder courses where they're in the woods or they're long, like so gap hitting and like distance, we're going to have a trouble to adjust things. So that's where that came from, by the way. But I want to highlight what you said about like just seeing a different shot on the next hole, because it really happens. And coming full circle, I don't think you see that shot that way without the woes of like a beginner and just like trying to play and just kind of grind if you want to get better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. The line selection itself is just one of those things of people walk up and walk with an MA4 or MA3 card in a tournament one weekend, and you'll see as they all look at a hole, and it's just like, I don't know how we all arrived at this conclusion, but all right, cool, you do you.
Yeah. Well, it's like that, and I don't hate to, but it's just maybe a weird parallel, but like jiu-jitsu is this way too, and disc golf is very similar, and like you start out and it takes you a long time to get like a base set of skills that are like proficient. And it like kind of you, like you're saying, you see one shot, you're like, oh, I can throw the hyzer, right? And that I have that hand, and I have like a shorter like hyzer forehand, and I can putt okay, and I can approach okay. Those are the skills that I have, and that's just kind of what I have to work with. But as you grow, you start like fine tuning those skills, which allow you to add other skills. So you have like, you're talking about walking, if you walk with an MA3 card, then you walk with like a MPO card, you're going to see the course is going to be a different course completely, even if they play the same tees, because there's going to be different skills that are good enough to use versus like you have the skills, but maybe only a couple of them are good enough to use. Does that make sense? Is that a weird parallel?
No, makes total sense. Total sense. Okay, Ben, that's what you got, my brother. Hope it helps.
Yeah.
Tristan, what are some focus cues you use for putting? I recently had an upper third putting round for myself, but it all came crumbling down on hole 16 when I dinked a 12-footer off the cage, and I just couldn't shake it off for 17 and 18, going on to miss very makeable putts for those as well. I apologize if this has been answered before. So focus cues when you're putting.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if this is I'm just going to say this. So my focus cues for putting, I'm recently, and I feel like my putting's improving again, is like I'm making sure my stance is correct. I'm making sure my body, not just my body, but my follow through of my body is where I want it to be in relation to the basket. I pick a specific link in the chains of the basket, aim small, miss ball kind of thing. And then I give it like one kind of like, maybe I'm just saying routine. I think my focus cue is routine. My real focus cue, I guess, is just the link that I choose to aim at. Mine's typically like 2 chains to the right and like 3 chains down, or 3 links down. That's kind of where I aim. Unless, again, I'm elevation, whatever's coming into play. So I think that's all I'm really doing. The new interesting thing, you being a Vinny fan, Robbie, do you like his new like hand thing he's doing at the basket as like kind of a focus cue?
No. I do not, and it comes from a. I remember when I was building my putting routine to like really, really refining it, and I was talking with Mike Strauss, one of the best putting coaches in the world. I'll die on that hill. I would not be the putting coach I am today without Strauss. And so I was working with Strauss, and we were practicing, and he was like, every thought you have, I want you to say it. Like, don't keep anything internally while we're in this session. And I was like, okay, cool. So as I'm walking up and I built the phrase, man, it's going to be awesome when I make this putt.
Yeah.
And then I would tell myself like, smooth release, smooth release, smooth release, smooth release. And so when I'd like walked over, told myself it's going to be awesome. And then I went smooth release, smooth release, smooth release, smooth release. And Mike stopped me mid putt. And I was like, what's up? And he said, do you believe you're going to smooth release? Or are you fearful that you're not?
Or are you praying for it? Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean fearful that I'm not? And he goes, if you believe that you're going to have a smooth release, you should be able to say it confidently once and then have a smooth release. Just do it. But when we repeat the phrase over and over again, it's inviting nerves into the process. So when I see people that are just rocking back and forth, or they're like nervously pointing, or they're repeating this motion, and it's one thing to have a routine where you're like, right? Like we see basketball players do it all the time. They'll spin the ball 3 times, give 3 pumps, and then they fire. They're not sitting there spinning it 3 times this time, 4 times the next time, 7 times the next, or once a time before it. They build a routine. And so that's where if Calvin every single time was going 1, 2, 3, bang, I would be all for it. But that's not what he does, because sometimes he does it like twice. Sometimes he sits there for 10 seconds, just. Yeah. And Calvin's a great putter, but I think a lot of people would say that the tournaments where Calvin really shoots himself in the foot is because all of a sudden he's either just like his putter does not touch grass, or he's just all over the basket without having any of them drop in.
Yeah.
And I would immediately, if I were his coach, I would say, Calvin, dude, we've got to dial in this putting routine. Like, you've got to kill those mental demons. So I agree with Brad. My focus is 100% on routines, and then it's aiming points. So I love disc dots. I use disc dots on I have a lot of baskets in my house. I own 6 baskets, and all of them are covered in disc dots because it's just a great product. But the biggest revolution was putting my disc dots on the back of my basket. So instead of trying to hit like the dot in the very front, it's not as effective in terms of giving you the feedback, but I spun them around so my dots are on the back side, and then I'm trying to hit the dot through the pole.
I like that.
Because so many times if we're just aiming at a link, which I think there's nothing wrong with aiming at a link, if I'm just aiming at a link, I'm going to give it enough to touch that chain, and that's it. And that's not a confident putt. So the last focus point for me on it is confidence. I would rather miss 20 feet past the basket confidently than have a little wobbly boy jam into the front of the cage and be like, well, that never had a chance.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm confident and I pop it, that's where I will, if I miss putts, anyone who has played around with me, especially friends who have played casually, will, if I miss a putt, you will just hear me. Even I've had putts that I make and I'm like, Robbie, confident. And the whole time that I'm walking to the basket, they will just see me focusing on popping my fingers in my hand. So that's my biggest focus point.
Can I also
confidence.
say one more thing to Tristan as well?
Yeah.
I think I kind of, this is kind of becoming a brand thing for me, I guess, but I don't think you need to fix anything because you just had a bad last 3 holes.
Yeah.
And it just happens. Like,
It's going to happen.
I think we were very quick to like, oh, I dinked this putt. And then you missed 17, 18 because you were like pumped because you were in an upper third. And you're like, oh, this is the new me. And realistically, the putts you missed on 17, 18 just caught up with you, you know? And
Yeah.
I think it's just okay. And it sucks that it happened to you and you were like playing upper third round. But I think it's just okay that you missed those 3 putts at the end of the day. And if I had to guess on hole 17 and 18, you were trying to correct your putt instead of just continuing putting and just being like 16, I hit the band. Oh, well, you know, or you dinked hole 16. Like, okay, I did that, whatever. That's 1 hole, next hole. And I guarantee you're trying to course correct, whether you were like intentionally like, oh, I need to throw higher or throw lower or give more spin. Like, I guarantee that inner monologue was happening when you were trying to do those putts. And that's why you missed the makeable putts, not because you need to change something.
Yeah. And sometimes we just have weird things that happen. And so, yeah, like Brad said, ignore it. Now, if every single round you get to holes 16 through 18 and you're like, oh, I start missing my putts, that could be a mental focus thing. Like you need mental endurance to kind of stay focused in the round. It could be a physical endurance thing where you're just gassed at the end of the round.
Right.
I know I played with a friend and they would tell me, like, when we hit the turn,
Yeah.
if they were winning at the turn, they knew they were not going to hold it because the mental pressure was going to just burn them the whole second half and they were going to give it up. And what did they do every time? They gave it up. So that's where you can identify patterns, but sometimes there is no correction. It's just, you're just kind of off and that's okay. Gavin, I'd like to hear your thoughts on putting nose angle. I thought this was an interesting one because I don't know how much you've thought about your putting nose angle, Brad.
A lot, actually.
I have found when I was putting very inconsistently, it was due to nose angle. Recently, I've been putting more nose down and sometimes flat, which has been more predictable. I've even putted nose down, especially with a strong headwind, to get the putt to drop into the basket. Side note, he's a spin putter. And long story short, is it okay to be changing nose angle based on wind? What do you think?
I think putting is one of the, like, putting is a touch skill, right? I mean, is that fair to say?
For sure.
I think when you have a touch skill like this, you have to like pay attention to that stuff. If I'm being 100, this is like full transparency here. When we're playing and like wind is involved, like off the tee or off the approach or whatever, I only care like 10 to 20% about that because I'm just like, the wind is not my enemy here. I am my enemy. Like, I'm just trying to get there. And like, obviously if it's like a left to right crosswind, I'm going to throw something like a little less stable if I need it to get to the right. Or if I have a specific area I'm trying to hit, like I'm paying attention there, but I'm not like, okay, well, it's this many miles an hour. It's like a slight left to right, but tail, like I'm not going that far. But if I'm putting, I am paying attention because it's just really going to, again, you're at such low RPM, it's really going to affect me a lot more. And we all know, we've all had the putt where we kind of like lobbed it in, nose up, and the wind catches the underside, it hits the ground and rolls away. So like those things, and I'm also paying attention, like if I'm trying to give something a long bid, like I'm going to throw a little bit more nose up because I don't want to get it like 40 feet past the basket, you know, like I think it's perfectly fine to mess with your nose angle for the putt because it is a touch skill, personally.
Yeah. I would say that I think it is completely acceptable to mess with your nose angle if you have an incredibly established routine and swing.
Yeah.
If you have those two things, then adjust the nose angle. If you do not have those two things and you're also messing with the nose angle a lot, you're just not really going to find consistency on the putting green. And so now you could make the correct call on nose angle adjustment and still throw a bad putt because your form of your putt is off. So that's where, yeah, I would say don't put the horse before don't put the carriage before the horse. I think that having the routine, having the good form, the good stroke, that is important. The nose angle is extra because if your putt is good enough, there are just times where the wind is not that much of a factor that you can just overcome. Like you can just power through with your standard putt. If you have a more flat putt, I would say more important than adjusting your nose angle is understanding what your preferred nose angle is and how that angle interacts in winds. And if you can do that, then you can start making some adjustments. And what I mean by that is like, if I putt nose up and I'm putting into a headwind, it's going to lift it every single time.
Yep.
So I have to know if my standard putt is nose up, then when I have a tailwind, I've got to get the disc a little higher because it's going to drop it.
Yeah.
Conversely, when I am putting, I am a nose down putter. So if I'm putting into a straight headwind, I'm aiming for I put like a little imaginary doll on the top of the like the basket, and I'm trying to knock the doll over. That is what I'm telling myself is like knock the plushie off, and it'll just fly right at it, and then it dives into the basket. Awesome. My backyard is in like a really weird wind tunnel where I actually get a lot of nose down putt practice because my putts just drop right by the basket. And it actually happens. I have two both ways. I somehow am putting in a headwind both ways in the middle of a session. But it works. So I'm grateful because a headwind putt I feel way more confident in, but a tailwind for me is going to lift it, which is just not what most people have to deal with. So learn your default angle and then you can adjust on the other side. But if you don't know what your default angle is, like I said, it's the same thing of when people don't have a consistent nose down angle on their drive and they're like, oh, well, now I'm going to try to change this angle selection. It's like, well, if you throw it 10 degrees nose up versus 1 degree nose up, that's going to be way more important than if you threw it on 7 degrees of Hyzer versus 0 degrees of Hyzer.
Right. Yeah. I think it's all really good call outs.
So,
just skip to Mike.
Yeah. So Mike, 69-and-a-half-year-old player, 69 years old, 1.5-year player, been playing for a year and a half. Okay. Getting a bit better week to week.
Okay.
Joined a local club, helped a lot. Question is, they can usually throw 250 to 280 with their drivers by getting to lighter discs. Struggling with anything over 160 grams, do well with 148 and under. Working on control, tend to not do well with overstable discs. My best discs to throw with good results are a 146 gram Mamba, 142 gram Roadrunner, the Saint, Explorer, and Bolt, all in the zero gravity line. Latitude 64 has made a huge improvement in distance and accuracy. I recently began working on throwing successfully overstable discs and am having good results with my 140 gram Star Destroyer. The question is, what do you think are a fit for me to work on my game and become more well-rounded, but keeping in mind I won't throw a 175 gram disc well at all. Just don't have the arm strength. Thanks, Mike. Okay. So we're looking, lightweight discs, currently has a Mamba, a Roadrunner, Saint, Explorer, and Bolt in the neutral to understable category.
Okay.
Star Destroyer is his overstable option. That makes sense.
Yeah. So he wants more overstable discs to start working on?
Question is, what discs do you think are a fit to work on my game and being more well-rounded, but keep in mind. Got it. So I'll go ahead and say the default option is grab yourself a Air. What was the one I was thinking of? It's the 7-speed. You used to throw it 7-speed fairway driver from Dynamic.
From Dynamic.
Dynamic. It's your grackle.
Evader.
Evader. Yeah. Grab yourself an air evader.
Yeah, it's gonna be like 150, probably 150 to 160.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Can I also just say, like, I would ask Mike probably, like, are you throwing any mid ranges at all?
Yeah. Great question.
Because that, like, to me, I'm like, to get more well rounded in your game, like, you need the other parts of your game. Like, I feel like maybe you're focused on distance, and maybe it's just like the time that you're in. But it seems like you're focused on distance, so you're automatically thinking I need to throw drivers for distance. But
Yeah.
and like I know you're 69 years old and you're throwing lighter weight stuff, but I'm sure I'd almost bet money you could throw a fission hex as far as any of those discs you just listed, and with more accuracy probably because you're not trying to throw them as hard. And really, I think what you're running into, and I was just having this talk yesterday here. A couple of us were talking in the warehouse. Like, I'm convinced less and less. We were talking about specifically lightweight destroyers of all things, because I think there's like this misconception that lightweight equals understable, and I don't necessarily think that's true at all, because like so Eli had a Blizzard destroyer. It was like 121 grams or something, 131 grams, something wild like that. And I remember throwing it and I was like, oh, it's still a destroyer. I was just able to throw it out there like further. And I think, and maybe hypothesis here, I think a lot of people think lighter weight discs are more understable than they are because they're lighter and people are actually like turning them over or like grip locking them a little bit because they're trying to throw them so hard that they're actually hitting them on more Hyzer. So that's my theory without any physics behind it, but that's my theory on lighter weight discs and why people think they're more understable. Why I'm saying that is I think that you're trying to hit distance and you're throwing these lightweight drivers really hard and you think that equals distance. I think actually throwing a smooth fission hex that can still be lighter weight for you, because again, I think you do have to be with kids and like adults that have like, you know, and again, I'm sure Mike, you're probably in better shape than me, but like, you know, there is a limitation. Like, lightweight discs are easier. We have a Mike here that is Hunter's uncle that has had some surgery on his shoulder, so he's throwing lighter weight discs because it's just like a little less impact on his shoulder and he doesn't have to throw it as hard. So I think you would have just as good results throwing mid ranges that are lighter and probably more accurate. You're not have to throw them as hard to get the same type of results. And Robbie, please tell me if I'm wrong here, but that's kind of what I'm thinking about this whole scenario.
Yeah. Like that's why I recommended the air evader to start, because the air evader is the most
Great
overstable evader that exists out there, and it's super lightweight. So,
my air evader was more overstable than my regular evader.
Yeah. Like that's, if someone tells me, oh, I love the evader and I want an overstable one, I'm always like, oh, get an air one, and they're like, that's crazy, Robbie. How dare you suggest that? Trust me, brother. I've been running a podcast for years about recommended discs, and it is by far the most overstable evader out there. Yeah. So I agree. I think that people lean to the lightweight stuff. That was also my question mark, was maybe we're looking for some 150 to 160 like gram mids and some 150 to 160 gram putters as well, and rounding out the bag that way. There's a lot of mid ranges you can look at. I think that the uplink is going to be a huge win for you. Yes. I think you could go with the Bounty, the Lobster, the Star Fox that we talked about at the beginning of the episode, right? Like there are just a lot of great choices that you could have in the mid-range slot. Mm-hmm. And I think opening up your mids is going to be, because the other hard part here is that the driver's nose angle is just going to be an issue. Yeah. So like if your nose is off, a driver is going to punish you so much, and a mid's just not going to that way. So that's where I would move, Mike, is mids and putters, and you still don't have to jump to the 160, like 175 gram world. No, you can stay lightweight. Yeah, but not a jade. Pearl. What was that? The pearl. Yeah. Pearl's a great choice. They're just back in production. I just got a bunch of them. So foundationdisc.com, by the way. And even the diamond is a great.
option as well. Like I
Yeah,
think
if you're already
I think,
with latitude.
yeah, and I think the Saint Explorer and Bolt, there's so much like overlap there in my opinion for this like this distance. Even the Mamba and the Roadrunner, I mean, 140 gram destroyers and a 146 gram Mamba are basically the same disc. That's a joke, everybody, but they're kind of not a joke. But yeah, I think mid ranges. We gave you a lot of good mid range examples there. Even the new Melita, which comes out this week, might be a really fun one for you to try because
Yeah.
all might be a little like a touch stable for you, but it's designed to be pretty straight. So yeah, I think, Mike, focus. If I had a recommendation for you, if you really wanted to improve and you wanted to become more well-rounded, cut yourself off at 9-speed. Don't go above it. Cut yourself off. Only allow yourself to have a couple drivers because, I mean, drivers are fun. So throw what's fun.
Yeah.
But bulk up your throwing putter approach disc mid-range category and get the skill with that. Again, coming from someone who went all driver to try to fix distance, be like, hey, this is not the answer, and had to jump down and build everything back up from putters up. I've done it. That's the way to go in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm here for it. Okay, we got 2 more questions today, guys. We got Matthew, and he said, I've noticed that Gannon seems to jump putt with drivers and mids. Why does he do this? Should AMs also be adapting this as part of their game?
It's a meme. It's just a meme. Don't do it.
Yeah. I actually put a video out on this. I feel like it wasn't that long ago, but at this point, it's probably a year because I saw Reddit talk about, my Circle 2 hack is that I putt with mids from Circle 2.
Yeah.
So I went out to a field and I set a basket up in the middle of the field and just putted with putters. I putted with mids. I putted with fairways. I did this exact drill. And what I found comes down to preference. I think that sure, they can glide a little more. Let me go ahead and tell you a fact. Gannon Buhr, basically anything he does in terms of disc selection choice while he's on the course does not pertain to and really just, should be ignored by 95% of disc golfers.
So in this scenario, let me explain this. Let me help Robbie explain this by something he loves. Gannon Buhr, like if you're driving in a scenario of driving cars,
Okay.
I would be just driving a Ford Focus, and Gannon Buhr is Vin Diesel and Too Fast, Too Furious.
Amen.
Fair?
Yeah.
Don't try what you see. Just leave it on the screen and just do something else. Because if Gannon Buhr wants to jump putt with a driver in mid, he's going to do it, and he can do it. And I don't think you should. And one of my favorite people on this planet is insistent that he putts better with a driver. And I know it's not true. And I love him, and it is not true.
Yeah.
So,
Gannon Buhr literally jump putted the top of the world shot at De La.
yeah.
If you gave, once again, 95% of disc golfers 5 attempts at that, none of them, most of them would not match his 1 attempt at it with 5 attempts because he just built different. So that's, I would say, I'm not going to say that you should never do it, mess around with it. Because there is, and sometimes switching up for your longer looks and things like that actually does help. For instance, I putt with a polecat from those distances. And I hit a lot of big polecat putts all over people's faces because it's a different type of disc. But I wouldn't know that, nor would I be as good at it if I didn't practice it along the way. So you're gonna have to experiment with it a good bit. But like I said, if Gannon Buhr does it, that does not mean that it's automatically correct.
Yeah.
Gannon he's a freak.
Yeah.
He's just really, really good at the game.
Yeah. Well, and also, I would go one step deeper. Why do you think you should do that? Are you having a lot of trouble with your jump putt? Do you not have a decent jump putt? Is your footing weird? Why are you considering doing that?
Yeah.
It's not just because Gann is doing it. You're like, oh, I have X problem. That seems like the solution. So I would just maybe evaluate that part, Matthew. Also,
Yeah, like I ragged on him for his putting routine, but I love when people tell me that, oh, well, push putting. If you're a push putter, the reason that you can't be a push putter versus a spin putter is because if you're a push putter, like you just can't even putt from circle 2 without stepping and doing all that. And it's like, okay, watch Calvin Heimberg. That man just pops the putter.
yeah. Sorry, I chuckle because I looked at the very next question on this list.
Yeah. Okay. So this one is one that I was like, I'm actually going to answer this one first. Travis asked, I want to know your thoughts on the brand Doomsday. They're my favorite brand, and I'd like more people to know about them. Well, here you go, Travis. Free advertisement. Specifically, a few discs they have, such as the Kim Trail, which is a 7.6 -2-1, the Landmine, which is a 2.202. The Landmine is the lid type one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gonna have to disagree with you on that one, Mr. Travis. And the Area 51, 4402.5. So approach disc. We'd love to hear your thoughts on them. So here's where I'm at on Doomsday. I have felt a Landmine because as a lid lover, that disc was put in my hands and people were like, oh, you're going to love it. We have a local guy who is a hardcore metal lover and he throws a billion things. I always tell people he carries the Wild Discs Kangaroo backpack as his disc golf bag because it holds that many discs. Jeez. And so big Doomsday guy. I have the only Doomsday disc that I have ever thrown, to my knowledge, is the Landmine. I have felt a couple. It's not I've been avoiding them. I just don't come across them. And I think that you have people who love it. You have people that hate it. I am completely neutral on this. Like I said, haven't touched a lot of their plastic, haven't felt it. If I were to give a positive review that makes me hopeful is that my neighbor, she is a school teacher, and she started a disc golf club at her local school. And she reached out to pretty much all of the major companies and said, hey, I'm starting this club. Would you guys be willing to donate some discs? And Doomsday was the first people to respond. That's not true. Trash Panda was the first people to respond, and Jesse sent like a boatload of discs because that's just not unsurprising. The next company to respond was Doomsday, and Doomsday sent so many discs. So that instantly puts them as a positive company in my mind, and I am here for supporting them. I don't have an opinion on like the molds you talked about other than the Landmine, which I think is a meme disc.
Okay.
But I would bag it before Berg.
Okay. I would say it's a strong statement, but it's not. I think you would bag one of these bagels in front of me before you bag a Berg.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. I'm going to say what I'm about to say very carefully. Because I also have a very positive experience with Doomsday. So the disc, I don't know if you guys saw the Foundation video where they threw the square disc, which is by Doomsday. Yeah. Was it the Anomaly or the Propaganda, or what's it called?
I don't know, but quick pause. Did you see that someone turned that into a nugget tray?
That's amazing. I did not.
Because if you turn it over,
it has
the circle and it has the square, like the diamonds on the corners. Someone just bought Chick-fil-A, put the nuggets in the middle, and then filled the sides with sauces. And I was like, this might be exactly what needs to go into my bag so that I have a plate whenever we need a plate.
For sure. Yeah. The juxtaposition there is very funny as well. But anyway, the oxymoron is what it's called. So the guys really wanted to do a video on that. They're obviously sold out. I reached out to Doomsday and said, hey, we'd love to do a video. Can we actually order some, and if you don't mind sending us a couple, we'll buy them, whatever, so we can do a video. And I forget the gentleman's name. He had some sort of alter ego, like I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to look this up, but whatever he said his name was. He was like, hey, we actually Death Doctor as his handle on his signature, email signature. Anyway, Death Doctor, talking to old Death Doctor, and he was like, hey, these sold out like way quicker than we intended. We didn't make any more than what we pre-sold, and I'm sorry we don't have any to sell you. He's like, but I have one personally that I will send you. So he sent us his personal one, which I thought was very nice of him. Death Doctor, very good guy.
Shout out Death Doctor.
Shout out Death Doctor. So again, I think positive experience, like I'm not saying they're bad people or anything like that. This is a personal problem. I'm admitting this is my personal feelings, my own personal issues. Their brand depresses me. It makes me sad. I don't like it. I don't want to throw discs called The Plague, Despair, Cataclysm, Chemtrail. Like, that bums me out.
It is very polarizing branding, but it's effective.
It's effective because Travis, are you Death Doctor? Are you just trying to sneak in on the show? Oh, maybe. Well, I'll never know.
If you are, hey, shout out, dude.
Shout out Travis Doctor. Shout out Travis Doctor. So that's it. That's my issue. And some of them are like the Bunker Buster, these huge discs, I will say, and their plastics are like random, and they're trying new stuff with plastic, and some that I've not seen. They're really experimenting with stuff. I like all that, and they're not afraid to do something different or weird. So I like all those things. But if you were called the Javelin, or I'd be like, hey, I might throw that, but I'm not throwing the Despair. Disc golf is about happiness and fun for me, and I do not want to throw things that make me sad. So that's my only issue with Doomsday. Hey, if Doomsday is willing to send me their lineup and throw them, and if I like it, I might wipe the stamp off of it and throw it. But until that day comes, I am a firm I'm not anti-Doomsday. I'm just not personally throwing Doomsday. And I actually had a listener. It's up there somewhere. I had a listener, I was at a kids disc golf event, and a listener came up to me and was like, hey, love the podcast. This is the disc that you need to throw, and it's a Doomsday Blackout. He's like, this is that 7-speed you're looking for. And he handed it to me out of his bag, and it was a very kind gesture. And I put it on my special discs section of my shelf here, because I'm not throwing something. At least Blackout's a little bit better. It's not as sad.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think they have done a really good job in marketing for creating very loyal fans. I feel like if you find someone that is a fan of Doomsday discs, they are a fan of Doomsday discs.
Here it is.
Yeah, I mean, they'll look sick. It looks really cool. I always tell people when people ask oh, what kind of music do you listen to? My stock answer is I'll listen to anything except yodeling. So I will sit there and listen to your screamo death metal. Right. Yeah, sure. Am I going to be a little jarred by it? Sometimes, but hey, respect. I am passionate about passion. And so I will respect what you're enjoying. And I think that brand perfectly aligns with that audience. And it even is, from what I've heard, great molds. I just haven't tried them.
Yeah, that disc feels really great. It really does. I just felt it again. I was like, oh, it feels good. So again, Travis, I'm glad. There's our thoughts. There's more than you probably wanted to hear, but there's our thoughts on Doomsday. Good people. Shout out Death Doctor for shipping over the oxymoron and
great people.
Great people. A little scary, but great. Kind of how I feel about the Secret Service. Scary, but I'm glad they're there.
And I'll go ahead. I'll throw a little defense to some of the major companies. I would imagine that they're probably getting, based on that, I know that y'all get reached out to, Brad, at Foundation about this. Yeah. I would imagine the major companies are seeing no less than 10 emails a day that are, least. Yeah. Hey, I started this. So I don't fault any of the major companies.
I think I fault 15.
Yeah. So I don't fault the major companies for not responding to every single one of them, because at the end of the day, you can only, it sounds dark to say, but you can only do so much charity and still be a functional business.
Sure. Yeah.
Like I said, I don't fault them. They hit at the right time, but it was a thinking about a company that's the size of Doomsday for the size of the package they sent to this middle school. Mm-hmm. It's incredible. We, like, me and this teacher's husband were just laughing about, like, bro, you could turn every single one of these students into a Doomsday fan from the get-go, because you could just give every kid in the club their own starter set of Doomsday discs and still have enough for next year when new students roll in.
Yeah.
Like, that's how many discs they sent.
Right.
It was awesome.
They do
respect,
seem charitable.
Huge fans. Way to go,
being
Doomsday.
preppers, do seem to be very charitable.
Yeah, they got a lot. They got a lot of stuff ready to go.
Yeah.
Speaking of stuff ready to go, Brad, what's new in the warehouse? What a pivot!
Yeah, is that all-time pivot, all-time great pivot, top 10, definitely. All right, so big things happening this week. Let's start with some of the not smaller things, but maybe some of the less hyped up things. So we have. Sorry, all my stuff disappeared on my Asana. So Discmania, cool releases this week. They have Horizon Glow C-Line DD2s. Great disc if you haven't thrown that disc. If you're like kind of 300 footer, that's a great disc to throw. Kimberly throws that disc all over the place, just like a regular Horizon one on forehand. We have the M5 Cairo blade. I'm guessing that's how you say that. It's also Glow Horizon MD5. It probably will go through the earth when you throw it. It's probably that overstable. I haven't thrown it yet, but it's got to be so overstable. And then the Glow on the other side of things, that's a Gannon Burr signature series or creator series. And then we also have the championship Glow, I think it's C-Line TD. So on the whole other end of like understable. So Gannon has like a very super overstable and then a very understable. TD is like a real fun disc. I've only thrown it a few times, but good time, like Diamond-esque kind of, I would say, if you'd agree with that, Robbie. Kind of in that same category, definitely understable even for me. So fun time if you're looking for that disc. We also have, the Procyon came out this week as well.
Yeah, came out on Monday.
Yep. So we definitely have some of those left, and we restocked everything from Trash Panda, including ET2s. We have those back in stock. Very fun disc if you're looking for something fun. We also have the Marshall's Last Ride that comes out today, Thursday, when we're filming this. Also, the Tournament Ring Sword, underrated disc as well. I threw that very early on in the bag, and it was a lot of fun. And then the Opto Ice Moonshine Splatter Pure.
Let's throw in a couple more words there.
Yeah, right.
The Vibrant, Opto, Ice, Chili, Splatter, Moonshine Pure.
Yeah, right. It's a lot of, but it's very cool because the splatter is moonshine, Robbie, not the whole disc.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a fun. I like that. I like that a lot. So if you're a pure person, and then of course we have Innova going up all week. I did a big Innova restock, so you're seeing a bunch of like race destroyers. I mean, pretty much everything. We're pretty much gonna have pretty much everything Innova that you want, minus some niche molds. Like I don't have any spiders like in stock, or I do have wolves. That DX wolves,
come on. Yeah.
So we do have most of everything you want there. Big ones this week though are the Melitas drop on Friday, which is awesome. Again, 5. Actually, I have it right here. So here's a Melita. It's a 5/5 -1/1. Feels like an Origin. You know what they say? If it looks like an Origin, feels like an Origin, might be an Origin. So that's coming. We also have Connor Shaman restock. Hello, everyone. Alert, alert, alert. Connor Shaman. And then also Birdie Blinn Wizards back in stock. And hey, colorways we've never had before.
A lot of new colors. I was shocked at the new colors. There is I think it's a yellow one.
Yeah.
That is, it's so pretty, guys. So you're gonna love it.
I'm not a yellow person, and neither is Jason. But Jason just kept going on and on about how that it's a cool yellow. It's not like a mustard yellow. It's not like a neon yellow. It's just like Okay, McDonald's French fry yellow. Can
That's
I say that?
exactly what I was thinking. It's the
Okay.
golden arches.
Yep.
It's like a gold yellow.
Yeah, but not like gross. So like it's cool. It's like really cool. I'm like, oh wow, these are good. There's also some cool like teal ones as well. Anyway, those are going up. So make sure you check those out as well. And a little spoiler, we do have some more Robbie C cicadas on the way.
Ooh.
So
good child.
Yep. Oh, and I just ordered new Robbie C ace bags. Robbie doesn't even know this. That will be in stock before USDGC.
Come on.
It's going to be a good time. Anyway, that's what's going on here at the warehouse. You know, a lot of stuff going on. Again, we appreciate your support as always. Next week is going to be form episode.
Next week's the form episode, yeah. So
be nice to me, people. Yeah. Be nice to me.
Matthew, you asked about glow. Your question, we didn't get to it for this episode, but check out those pures. We'll really dive into yours in episode 165. But for 164, guys, we're breaking down ABB's stuff, and I will go ahead and warn you that I'm basically, we're going to treat this like, to give you all a preview of what doing a lesson with me looks like. Is the goal. So it's going to be one you're going to want to go to the YouTube and you're going to want to watch for next week. Make sure you check it out in the Bag Podcast if you just search that in the Bag Podcast, you'll find it on YouTube. And I will apologize to the people who are still going to listen audio only. My mic that I use for lessons, because I can get up and move around with it, is not as high quality as the mic that I'm using here. So that will be your code. If you hear that quality mic, go watch on YouTube.
And hey, we're also, just shout out real quick. I think in the last episode, someone pointed out that there's an audio issue. I'm going to get with Silas. Hopefully hearing this, there was no audio issues, but it looked like maybe one side, it was like all to one side. So I'll dig into that and make sure we get that fixed for this episode. And if it's a mic issue, then bear with us. We'll get something done. I'll go into AirPods if I have to make sure you all don't have like mono audio. Like, what is this? 1971. Yeah. You keep it in the bag. We'll see you all next week for form review. Be nice to me.